But if this is only a haunted building legend, why do the same tragedies keep returning to the same place? I'm Kim, and this is Hung Channel.
In Taipei, there is a building that changed names, changed faces, and tried to move on. But behind its renovated walls, old smoke still lingers. From a 1984 fire to later tragedies and urban legends, Jinxin Building became more than a haunted place. It became a memory the city could never bury. Chapter 1: Butterfly Building. Before it became haunted, it was already divided. At the corner of Xinsheng North Road and Jinzhou Street in Zhongshan District, Taipei, there stands a building that many people today call Taipei's #1 haunted building, Jinxin Building. But what many do not know is that it was not originally famous for horror. Its former identity was Butterfly Building, completed in the 1970s. At that time, Taipei was rising fast. Commercial buildings, hotels, suites, restaurants, like one modern dream after another, were emerging from the old streets. Butterfly Building also carried that kind of ambition. Downstairs were shops and restaurants. Upstairs were offices and suites. Underground, there were saunas, beauty salons, laundry facilities, and even the concept of a rooftop helipad. On the surface, it was a building of a new era, but from the very beginning its fate was never that of an ordinary building. Different units, different stakeholders, and different purposes divided the entire structure into separate pieces. Later, it was jointly operated as Shidai Hotel. Before any ghosts appeared in the building, the human heart had already been divided. Perhaps, in some places, the yin energy does not begin with death, but with too many desires being forced into the same building. The more one looks into its early records, the more this building begins to resemble a butterfly pinned at a street corner. From the outside, it seems complete, yet its wings had already been torn apart. All the strange events that came later felt as if they were merely shadows slowly seeping out from those cracks. Chapter 2: 1984. Smoke Behind the Glass. On the 28th of May, 1984, a major fire broke out at the Jinfu Yuan restaurant on the second floor of Shidai Hotel. Official records stated that the fire was related to an electrical short circuit. Around 300 people were trapped inside. In the end, 19 people died, and many others were injured. But what made this fire truly terrifying was not only the flames, it was the thick smoke. The building used a highly enclosed glass curtain wall design, together with the fire safety equipment, interior materials, and escape planning of that era, which were far from mature. The smoke surged upward through stairwells, elevator shafts, air conditioning ducts, and other spaces. Some people tried to escape. Some searched for an exit. Some even tried to break the glass, only to discover that this seemingly transparent wall was far stronger than they had imagined. Fire may illuminate everything, but smoke swallows everything. On that day, what first took lives may not have been the flames, but the black smoke so dense that no one could see their own hands before them. Later, when people looked back on this disaster, they realized that the true horror at the core of Jinxin Building was not some ghostly creature, but a modern building that suddenly transformed into a maze in the face of disaster. Restaurants, corridors, staircases, room doors, all of them became wrong directions, misleading people further. In May, in Taipei, while people were trapped inside, the city outside remained bright, and the traffic continued to flow. From that day onward, this building stood on the streets of Taipei like a memory blackened by smoke. Chapter 3. After the name changed, the fire returned. After the Great Fire, Shidai Hotel officially became history. The building later changed names, underwent renovations, and shifted its purpose many times, from hotel to rental suites, as if beginning again on the surface. Names can be changed, but can certain places and memories ever truly fade away? In 1996, this building, already renamed the Jinxin Building, was once again struck by fire. Most sources point to an arson case connected to a dispute involving a sixth-floor resident. The incident caused 2 deaths and 61 injuries. To outsiders, the first Great Fire might still have been understood as an accident, but after the second man-made fire appeared, people began to look at the fate of this building with a different and unsettling gaze. Later, in 2010, a case involving a couple found dead together occurred. Police discovered the bodies inside a suite on one of the higher floors. This incident once again pushed the Jinxin Building back into the news. In the years that followed, media reports continued to mention falls from the building, unnatural deaths, and incidents involving outsiders entering the property. The numbers differ from report to report. Some say more than 20 lives were lost there. Others say the number may even be close to 30. What is truly eerie is that these incidents did not happen continuously. Instead, they stacked up layer by layer every time people were about to forget it. The building used another accident to remind the city this building is still here, whether its name was changed, whether it was renovated, no matter how its appearance shifted. As long as someone else met with disaster, all the old news would awaken again. Chapter 4. The elevator, the white wall, and the 6th floor spirit tablets. There are countless urban legends surrounding Jinxin Building, and the late-night elevator is certainly one of the most unforgettable. Online, there was once a story about a food delivery worker who entered the building in the early hours of the morning. When he reached the intended floor, the elevator suddenly trembled. The doors did not open. Then it rapidly descended, finally stopping at the basement level. When the doors opened, what he saw was not a car park, not a corridor, but a white wall. Later, some people investigated and found that the basement involved private ownership and was not normally accessible to the public, so the elevator buttons may not have functioned in an ordinary way. But this is exactly how urban legends grow. The more impossible something is in reality, the more imagination will create a ghostly doorway for it. Another story repeatedly mentioned is the spirit tablets on the 6th floor. Online rumors often claim that one unit there enshrines tablets for hundreds of the dead, and some even collect them to the victims of the fire. But more reliable investigations indicate that it is a joint ancestral hall established by a hometown association, not a place specifically dedicated to the victims of the fire. And yet, in a building that has seen fire, deaths, murder cases, and rumors of outsiders dying there, this is already unsettling enough. The living reside above and below, while between them, on one floor, spirit tablets for the dead are enshrined. This kind of strange reality is colder than any ghost story someone could invent, so you never really know. Every time the elevator stops and the doors open, is the one standing outside a resident, or someone who has never managed to find the exit. Chapter 5. The Small Rooftop Shrine. Things that should not be left behind. In recent years, some reports mention that Jinxin Building has a small shrine on its rooftop. It once enshrined the Earth God and Guan Yin, and later invited Guan Shen Dijun to guard the building. Because this place has not only suffered fires, but also faults, murder cases, and outsiders coming there to end their lives. When a building accumulates too many unnatural deaths, according to Taiwanese folk belief, certain forms of Sha energy may form: fire Sha, Yin Sha, wandering spirit Sha, or even gathered resentment. That is why later temple practitioners entered the building to perform rituals. Spirit mediums patrolled the floors. Ritual instruments sounded, scriptures and incantations were chanted, and even Zhongkui was invited to make a circuit through the building. In folk belief, Zhongkui is not an ordinary deity. He is a figure specifically associated with suppressing evil, dispelling Sha, sending off wandering spirits, and restraining unclean things. In other words, when a residential building needs Zhongkui to enter and patrol, everyone already understands in their hearts this place cannot be handled by simple worship alone. The most unsettling part was that during the ritual, small incense burners, talismans, and certain objects considered unsuitable to remain there were discovered in the stairwell. Who placed these things there? Was someone trying to suppress something? Or had they unintentionally invited something in? Or was some sinister Taoist using the building's shared energy to cultivate immortality? Perhaps the most terrifying thing about Jinxin Building is not the ghosts, but the possibility that someone has always been carrying out some kind of ritual there. Are they afraid that certain things have not yet left? Or Chapter 6. Gui Tian Xia, the 20th person with no name. Jinxin Building was later used as inspiration for the film Gui Tian Xia, which adapted the building into a fictional version with a similar sounding name, Jinxin Building. The film used the 1984 fire as its horror core, then added elements such as spirit mediums, elevators, ghost hunting, and the created legend of the 20th victim. In reality, the official death toll was 19. The 20th person belongs to folk rumor. But the reason this rumor is frightening is that it touches the deepest fear within every haunted building legend. What if there was someone who was never recorded? What if there was a name that was misknown by smoke, fire, newspapers, and time? Even stranger, many rumors that originally did not belong to Jinxin Building, such as falling from building legends from nearby buildings, were gradually moved into its story by the internet. It is as if this building does not only collect its own disasters, but also absorbs the gloom of the entire neighborhood. Today, the exterior wall has been refurbished, the management committee has been reorganized, and the interior has been renovated. There are rental suites, cultural and creative spaces, and it has even become a photo spot. But no matter how it is renewed, renamed, or transformed, this building is only using a new exterior to cover the old blackened scars. A city can repaint a building, but it may not be able to repaint human memory. Every time someone mentions it again, beyond those 19 names, someone will always be unable to stop wondering, is that nameless person still waiting to be found?
I'm Kim. Please subscribe, like, and share. And stay with me. You have never faced the dark unknown.